Hey YouTube, this video is on if you're trying to heat up a room, save some money, as a lot of people are lately, and not use electricity or anything like that. Essentially, this will help. So I had this put together. I took it apart for this video. Basically, these are just those little tea light candles. These are 8-hour candles. And I'm going to leave a link in the description for all these parts except for the metal parts, but I'll tell you what they are. So these will be in the description. And in my, once I have this all put together that you see, I use 4 of them. And I've been using this now for about 5 days, no issues. And I can say that a room that's, I've been using it in a room that's 13 by 13, with the doors closed. It's actually my den, and I have 2 doors that I can close for it. Probably within the first 4 hours, it heats it up at least 5 degrees, and it can get anywhere from 8 to 10 degrees warmer by the time these candles burn out. Usually probably like 6 hours in. But, so I've done the tests. I have a little light, so I'm going to show you just the temperature light that you shine it on things, and you can get the temperature off of it. So essentially you need 2 pots, one smaller than the other, and I bought those on Amazon as well because I went to my local Lowe's and Home Depot and they were out. It's not the season right now because it's fall here where I live in New England. So you're going to need 3 nuts. They're 9/16. It'll fit a 9/16 inch wrench, whatever that makes it. I think this is might be a 1/4 inch. So you need one of these, or you don't, but this is what I use for mine. It just has the little eyelet in it, and it came with its own nut. So I just screw that nut all the way to the top, and then I put a washer. So you'll need 1, 2, 3, 4 washers that'll slide over this bolt. And so you bring the black nut all the way up, then you put a washer, and then you go for the large one. I have a there's a washer inside here. I just left it in the vase already, not vase, the pot already. So there's 1 washer on top with the nut, 1 washer inside. The bolt's going through, and now I'm going to take another nut just to cinch this whole thing down. And the reason that I use this black eye bolt is so I'd have something to hold on to lift it off. I've seen some online you can buy Amazon and so on and so forth. I don't like them, and I'll explain more about that later. But so now this is on here, it's held on. So again, the nut that comes with this, if it doesn't come with one, yours, again, I bought these at Lowe's. Just cinch the nut all the way up, put the washer, that's on the inside. You see a washer with the next nut, and then just take another washer, slide it right over that setup that you had. I think you can see that. Take your next pot. There's also a washer ready to go in here, just 1 washer. Slide this pot down. There's the washer. And then I'm just going to take 1 more nut. Or cinch that all the way down. Now you could use a lock nut. I didn't use one because it's hard to, unless you have a really deep socket, it's hard to get it all the way in there. I mean, you could cut that bolt and make it shorter if you wanted to do that, and then you could use a lock nut and it will always stay tight. Don't over tighten it so you don't break the pots, and that's it. The reason I wanted this is so I could lift it off to change the candles and so on after. This will get extremely hot, so will this, so will the one inside. So you'd want to do that after it cools off or whatever, or had some like oven mitts or gloves, you know, like wool gloves or something like that to do it. So that's all put together. This just was an extra one I had downstairs that I went and measured it to make sure it was 9/16. This will be, all this will be in the description. Links, again, I got them on Amazon. And this is just one of those things for all your utensils for the sink or whatever, you know, large spoons, whatever. I wanted something to enclose. It also has like these little, you know, feet to keep it up off things to even, you know, allow more air or whatever. But I wanted something to allow air in, but also be safer. The ones that you'll see online have all these candles just sitting inside here. This basically goes all the way down and gets screwed into this base, and then you can just put the candles there. So it essentially does the same thing, but to me it's not as safe. Been a firefighter for past 30 years, so I know something about candles and fires and cats and dogs and things like that, kids or whatever. So to keep it safer, to me this is the solution. So you're just going to put these 4 candles inside. I kind of space them out so that they're not literally right on top of each other. Just give them a little space. And then we're just going to light them. If they will light. There we go. So all 4 candles are lit. Last thing to do, because it holds all together perfectly, just rest it right on top. And essentially that's it. I mean, you can adjust it if it's a little off. Now, with this design, again, I made this myself. Sometimes this will stick to it just because of the way the shape of the pot is. So when you go to lift it up, if you go with this design, you'll want to hold that and lift this up, because I've lifted it up before and the metal thing just stayed there. And if there's any liquid still in the candles or whatever, and you just go to take this off, and that metal thing then falls, and then you have wax everywhere. You can blow the candles out right through here as well. You might have to just rotate it, which this doesn't get hot enough to not be able to touch with your fingers. This will over time, as will this. So that's why I said you should have, you know, some gloves, winter gloves, you know, anything that will just give you a second to take it off. If you're going to take this off hot, this will be hot. So you want to put it on something that's not going to burn. I think the highest, I've seen it at like 200 and something degrees. Also, the wax in here puts off fumes. And I'm trying to remember the name of the gas that it's putting off, but it won't ignite until it reaches 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Which I've seen a video on there somewhere on YouTube, or you can search on the internet, where they were having, the person had an issue with a fire in his. It was set up differently. It had the rod that went all the way through, and the candles were exposed. But he was also on a boat somewhere out in the ocean, and you have the thing rocking all over the place or whatever. I think that's what caused it, because I've been using mine for over 5 days now, testing it, because again, being a firefighter myself, I didn't want to, you know, have any issues in my own house. Certainly I wouldn't want to make a video, you know, for anybody to hurt themselves either. And this is just, you know, I'm not telling you to do this or not do it or whatever, but I am using it, and I just wanted to show you how, if you wanted to try and save on some, you know, to give yourself some more heat at a really cheap price. So the candles I bought, they're 200 candles in a box, and they're 8 hours candles. And that's quite a long time. So you'll get plenty of heat out of this if you put 2 of them in a room. Again, mine was 13 by 13. And let's see if we can get any. Yeah, it's still cold right now to the touch. It takes a while. So you're not going to turn this on and heat up your room, you know, in 10 minutes. It takes time. Right now, if we were to do it, it's 72 degrees this. If we go down here on the metal thing, it's like 74. If we try and go on to the smaller one underneath. It's already at 92. So obviously the inside one's going to heat first, and the reason there's two of them is for that whole convection thing going on, and then it's going to radiate when this outside one gets hot. That's what's basically heating the room, because candles in itself in a room, the air is too cold, it wouldn't do anything. You could have 10 candles in a room, this is only 4, and it would never heat the room at all. How this works is it heats this up, so then this becomes a radiator, and then it radiates the heat out. And the types of pots you want to use, terracotta pots, and that's so that they can handle the heat. You don't want to get colored pots or anything else. Like I said, I'm going to put links in the description where I purchased them from Amazon. And again, just full disclaimer, not telling you to do it or whatever, but if you're trying to, you know, generate some heat in your house and you are going to do it anyway, and you just wanted to know how to do it, to me, this is the safer way. And so, like I said, I've been doing it the past 5 days. I have measured with my little gauge here, the laser. It's never gotten anywhere near 400 degrees up inside here, so that, you know, the fuel from the candles, if it can't reach 400 degrees, it won't do what's called flash over. And basically what happens is all the gas that it's producing in there from the candles burning, it's so hot it ignites that as well, and then this whole thing will like be a flame blowing out of here. And that's kind of what happened on this guy's, as he said. I didn't see it happen on the boat, but like I said, a boat's wiggling, wobbling all around, so on and so forth. I think that's what caused his problem more than this, but good idea to keep an eye on it. If you're not going to, you know, I wouldn't leave it on when I go to bed at night until you feel safe with it. I feel safe enough with mine now. I haven't had any issues. In fact, I had made another one and I brought it to my sister's house, and they're using it now in the room. If you also have to think about if your room's airtight, things like that. Candles are a fire. Fire will take oxygen out of the room. I wouldn't put any more than 4 candles also, because the more candles you have, the more gas is being produced and the more flame and the more heat. So 4 is the most that I would go in this thing. If you wanted to go 3, that's even better, but you'll get some less heat. But that's pretty much it, and that's how you put it together. I'm going to bring you a little closer so you can see. I mean, you can see the glow in there. But that's what it looks like down there. And yeah, works really well. Like I said, I have seen a lot of videos on there, and none of them talked about how much temperature you'd gain in a room and room sizes or anything else. I don't know if they just didn't want to say it or whatever. But I have a thermometer. I bought one specific for the room I put this in, and I watched it rise. So, you know, in 2.5 hours, it probably only went up like 3 to 4 degrees. Within 4 hours, it went up at least 8 degrees. And like I said, it would climb between 8 and 10 degrees. I mean, I never actually left it on for the full 8 hours, but I can only imagine it's just going to keep getting warmer. I don't like being in, so I started off, it was 60 degrees, and it got up to like 68.9. And that wasn't the full 8 hours of running time. I have to imagine it would get 70 degrees, maybe a little bit more. Again, that's a 13 by 13 room with the doors closed. And that's just about it. Because, you know, with you sitting in there, even without you there, but if you have any technology in there, TVs, things like that, that obviously is going to increase some heat as well. But I just literally put this in there by itself and just let it go. I kept checking on it and so on, just to make sure there would be no issues, you know, fires or whatever. And like I said, this has had no problem. And I've used the, you know, that gauge right there, shining it up inside while it's running. I could never get it to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. So there's going to be no issue with, you know, the gas turning into a flashover because of that. At least with this design, I haven't found that. Again, his design was different, and his was open here. He didn't have any metal, so all the little tea lights are exposed. But like I said, I just don't like, you know, cats like to play with things, or their tail hits it or whatever. It's the last thing that you need. another thing I would advise if you have small children or whatever, put this in a place that's higher up, so that it can't, so they can't touch it and get it knocked over, because this will get hot. The metal gets hot, and this definitely gets hot, and that little handle up there gets hot. So they would, it's not like they would burn themselves immediately to the touch, but if they put their hand on there for any period of time, it would definitely probably burn them. So I would, make sure it's in an area that they can't get to it, put it up on a shelf somewhere or something like that. Try not to keep it too close to anything that could burn either. Stuffed animals, things like that, whatever. You just want to keep it as clear as possible all the way around, because like I said, it's generating heat. So just think about it as a electric heater or something like that. But again, that metal thing, like I said, it just helps from anybody, a cattail hitting it or whatever, and knocking those candles out of there and dumping on something, causing a fire. That's basically all I got, YouTube. I mean, we can shine this on it again right now. I don't know how warm it'll be. So it's already at 90 degrees, and this room temperature is 65. So my house is 63. So it's already brought it up a couple of degrees maybe in this room. Hold on, what did I just shine it on? Yeah, so the higher I go, the higher the temperature. So we're at 102 already. So 98.6 is the temperature of your body. So that's already warmer than your body, obviously, as you know, but it's just going to keep climbing. And the higher you go above, that's how you get a burn, obviously. I'm just trying to shine it on that handle. So I was like, I got it to like 105. But you can see in this short period of time, how much heat. Now I'm going to shine it on the bottom thing. We're at 69, 68. And this table is 72 degrees. So it's a couple of degrees warmer. Actually, it's a couple of degrees colder than the table. Yeah, so point that I'm making there with that bottom piece, you can set it on something like I have here. It never gets too hot that it's going to burn something. I wouldn't put it on something, like material or the carpet or anything like that. But I think putting it on a piece of wood like this is totally fine. If you wanted to put something else under it, like, I don't know, a tile or anything like that, you can, just to help with any heat, but it doesn't get hot enough to burn anything. Again, your body temperature is 98.6. Right now that's at 70 degrees, and I've never seen it any higher than like 75, 80 degrees. So it's totally fine to put on a table just like this. So I think that's all I got. Like I said, I'm going to leave in the description links. I'm not affiliated with any of this. I just searched this stuff up on Amazon myself, what I would need. And the only thing that I won't be sending you a link to is the bolts and that screw, just because I didn't get them on Amazon. I had to go to Lowe's to figure out what I needed. And all the pots, as you saw, they have holes in them, come with holes in them. And the link that I sent you will come with these. It actually comes with 3 pots. There's one even larger than this, but you only need 2. And it comes with these little things to set the pots in. So I used that to keep the metal thing off of stuff. It's just safer in there. The 2 pots on top. Check the description for the links for those. Again, I don't get any kickbacks or anything, because I don't have any affiliate link or anything. I'm just trying to help you guys stay warm this winter, because it's expensive. Last thing, I don't know if I mentioned it, but you get 200 of those candles. It's like $40, if I remember, $34, something like that. If I did the math, it basically works out to $1 a day to heat a room. And like I said, if your room's a little bigger, put 2 of these in there and, call it a day. So there's a little upfront cost just to buy the parts or whatever, but I think the value is definitely going to pay off, because it'll pay off itself in 1 month. So if you don't have to heat your whole house, which I don't, I live alone, then why do it? I mean, like I said, I don't even have my heat turned on in the house yet, but if I want to hang out in this room, be it my office or my den, I can just bring that with me, turn it on, and it heats the room enough for me. I don't want my house at 70 degrees anyway. Again, we're not full-blown winter. The outside temperature, look at my watch right now, is 63. So, you know, it's definitely going to heat your room enough for now. We'll see what happens in the winter. But even if it brings it up, you know, like I said, over time, 10 degrees in a room, that's more than fine for me. You know, I'll wear, I don't know, sweatpants, sweatshirt or whatever, and I'm fine in the house. This was just to take the edge off. And I mean, it gets so warm in the room where I put it that because I haven't used the heat at all, when I go into the rest of the house, it's chilly, you know, you notice it immediately. So these definitely work. And yeah, I hope this is good. If you guys have any questions or comments, you know where to reach me on YouTube, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, YouTube.